My template for creativity. When I make music, I want to learn something new every time, and the only way to do that is by doing something different every time. So how do I design my template to encourage my curiosity instead of my laziness? So my goal is to avoid repetition, but to make it easy to get started. So it's a balance, cause easy comes from repetition. So the first thing is my virtual instruments. I have my lab soft piano, which I have turned the volume all the way up because it's very quiet. And I make sure that it's always armed because this is my go-to instrument. I have my piano, so when I just want to play a bit, then instead of that I have to open Ableton and find the plugin and activate it, blah blah blah. Then all I need to do now is just to open Ableton Live and then I can play, which is amazing. Another instrument I always use is Vital, which is just my favorite go-to synth, which can do kind of everything. It's free and it's awesome. I make sure that I haven't dialed in any great sound, because if I start with a good sound, then I can get lazy and not do something amazing myself. So by having this horrible start sound, then I'm kind of forced to actually do something, and when I do something, then I will hopefully experience something that will inspire me. And the next section is my return tracks. I have quite a few, but if I don't use them, I just delete them, and I think that's faster and easier than adding them. Right now in my preset I have 5 return tracks, so let's go through them. I have my Valhalla Vintage Verb, which is just my favorite reverb. I like to have the pre-delay at like 80-ish. And then I like to have my high cut at around 2000 Hertz, but I will leave it at 8000 because again, I hate it when it's at 8000, so I will hear it and then I will dial it in at where I want it to be, instead of that I choose something now and then I just get lazy and forget to change it to something I truly love. And then I use the 2 analogs preset for echo, which I love. Remember to set the dry wet at 100%. That's extremely important. I also have a utility which I set to swap, which I don't activate, but I like to have the opportunity to swap left and right, because then I can do some really cool stereo effects with it. Then I have a plate reverb, which is from AURORA, which I just love, and it's another sound so I can like fast check out different reverbs without having to do much. Then I have another 2 analogs preset, which I will change the sync to time and I will link the left and right. And then I will do something really cool, which you can do in Ableton, which is to MIDI bind the controls. So I bind input to one controller, feedback to another, and left and right to a third. And now I can always just play around, do all kinds of extremely cool sounds. And then what I will also do is to add a echo return, which I will set up to record the 2 analogs, so I can record my delay performance. But if you want to see more about how this works, then go and check out my video, which is called And it's this thing that if I don't do this, I would probably do this less often, and it's the thing that I want to do more often. This is a new thing for me, but I have set up an external return. So I will select the master and then I will press external out and choose external 3. And external 3 is connected with my reamp box. So I can easily choose a source just by sending to E, and then I can send it to my guitar pedals or whatever sound I want. And it's again something I want to do more often, so for me it's about making it as easy as possible. But remember to like select the external out that fits your need. So that was all of my return tracks. Then we come to my plugins defaults. So my glue compressor, I have attack set to 10, release to 0.1 ratio, and then I always just dial it down something. The threshold and makeup is always something that I adjust, but it's cool to have it set like something like this. It's always a good start value. But the 10 attack, 0.1 release and ratio at 4 is just an amazing default setting. And if you want to see more about this preset, then go and check out my video, my favorite glue compressor and preset. So what I do is I right click and save as default. So every time I use the glue compressor now, it's with this preset, which is extremely handy. EQ8, which I always have on my U87 track. I choose to have low cuts and high cuts instead of low pass and low high pass. And all I do is select them, make sure, and then I right click and I press save as default preset. So now instead of having low shelf, I have low cut. Then we come to the audio tracks. I always have my U87 connected, and it's called U87, and make sure that you have the right input selected. So it's input 5, as you can see. And I always have the EQ on my channel. So this is pretty much how it is in my template. And then I also have an acoustic piano, which also always is mic'd and just ready to press record and do something. Because if I need to like pull cables and blah blah blah, then I get lazy, and I just want it to be easy to perform and do my music. And again, remember to choose the right inputs. What I also do is that my U87 track, which has like input selected for track 5 and an EQ, I right click and then I save as default audio track, because then every time I make a new track, it's the U47 track, which is the one that I use the most. Commercial. If you want to write more songs and explore new approaches, then go and check out my creator sessions. It's a 5-hour video session with up to 11 fellow artists. I will show you new tools and approaches which you're each gonna write a song with during this session. And I will be there to help you with whatever comes up, so you will have the best conditions to succeed. Writing and finishing new songs is the best fuel for your creativity and motivation, so if it sounds like something for you, then go and sign up on ransby.biz/creator. I hope to see you. Other things that I set up in my Ableton is that I go to look and then I select clip color and press random. I just really like the look of that. I also go into warp and then I make sure that auto warp long sample is off, because that has just like made my life so difficult sometimes, because sometimes when I forget to unwarp when I import, then there are like phase issues and stuff like that, which is extremely annoying. I also always use 32-bit, because when I do my echo madness thing, then I get above 0 dB, and when it's 32-bit recording instead of 24, then there is plenty of headroom, so it doesn't get crushed. I don't have to worry about destroying my sounds inside of Ableton. So it's actually a really important thing to do, at least for me. So these are my template settings, and now there's only one thing left to do, and that's to go to File and press Save Live Set as Default Set. Bow, chicka bow. And then when I make a new session, then it's perfect. I hope this gave you some inspiration to your template. I'm not a template lover, but I'm a effective lover. I like that what I think is difficult becomes easy, and I like to make it easy for me to be creative. So these are my choices for how I make the most out of my creativity with my template. If you like this video, then please hit the thumbs up button and consider to subscribe to my channel. It would truly make me happy. Enjoy.